Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for, I don't know what I want to call this. Anyway, I am going to use my telepathic abilities and the power of my beard, and I'm going to look at my pull list, and I'm going to predict what each comic is about, what goes on in the comic. So, just for some fun, I literally just got home from work. I went to my local comic book store, i.e. the mailbox, and I got my comics, little big old stack O comics. Open it up here. All I did was take the packaging off of the other thing, and we're just gonna go right down. I'm just gonna flip them up, and I'm gonna tell you what happens in the comic. And if you want to, you can tune in tomorrow, Saturday, at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Time, Comic Book Roundtable, and see how close I am to being accurate about what happens in it and stuff. So, right that, first up is Paper Girl, issue number 5. In this issue, the girls team up with the adults, the people wearing the shiny armor, and they get their version of what's good and what's bad, and of course the conflict continues with the fact that one of the girls has been seemingly kidnapped by the young invaders, as it were. Of course, clearly it'll have wonderful art in it and some funny stuff about being a paper carrier at the back of it. Great stuff. Next we have Pretty Deadly, issue number 8. Always the gorgeous art by Reyes, colored by Valeri, with Kelly Sue DeConnick weaving a tale set in World War I, as Jenny and Alice pick up this their relative of a woman that they helped when she was quite young. They experience World War I and the battle that is there on their way to taking him back to see his mother before she dies. Once again, a wonderful folk tale of sorts, and now expertly weaved, as opposed to the first arc, which was quite enjoyable, but maybe wasn't as strong written as what this is. Great stuff. Sheriff of Babylon. This is issue number 3 of 8. King writing this based on his knowledge as a CIA agent working in the Middle East. In this issue, we get more of a background of what this not sure what I want to call her. She was a Iraqi citizen, Iraqi born, went to the United States, educated in the United States because her family was basically chased away. She's now back. Has been shown as being pretty conniving. In this, we get more of her backstory to help us understand her better and maybe see her not as being diabolical as kind of what she seems to be. Why she has the thirst for power and whatnot. It's given somewhat of a noble sense to it. Next, we've got Survivors Club, number 5. We continue to deal with imaginary friends in this issue, and it continues to be confusing to some degree. We spend more time with the video game stuff that I'm not particularly interested in, but is okay. I want us to get back to the kind of, the creepier stuff, and for some reason the whole spirited video game thing doesn't creep me out in any way. But yeah, the gang starts to all get back together again, realizing that there really is a bigger force out there messing with them. Cool stuff. Swamp Thing issue number 2. More like issue number 1. We get he battles you know, the zombie guy basically, gets tore up quite a bit. There's lots of exposition, lots of thought boxes and that sort of stuff, describing the scene, describing the feelings and the sense of what the whole place is like, you know, instead of having the artist do it. So Unfollow, this is issue number 4. Now that the plot has basically been set in motion, that all these 139 people are all going to be millionaires, and it occurs to them as they disappear, those that are left will get more and more money. The sinister stuff starts to happen. You start to see new characters we haven't seen before, who clearly are the sinister people, who clearly are banking on the idea of collecting a profit from the disappearance of more of the 139 now, and we get to see how our characters react to that. That's my psychic prediction of what happens in this. Just like all of these. My pull list is basically what you're seeing, and my psychic, massive beard power to predict what's going on. Exodus: The Life After. This is issue number 3. Gabo continues to kill it on art in this thing. Great stuff. And in this issue, Mom comes way more back to her senses as far as what's going on. They're still struggling to try and get Jude back and get him back on task to basically kind of overthrowing the afterlife, so people can be a little more free and do their own thing. And we get a better idea of what the potato god or whatever it is, maybe more of what its motivations are, which is always interesting when you start talking deities. So, Replica, issue number 3, one of those Aftershocks comics. Clearly in this issue, the cover does not lie. There is all kinds of whoopee being made in this issue, so there's some crazy good times happen there between clone number 2, clone number 3, and our goon. But they are continuing with their mystery of the assassination and trying to pit it on the alien race who has the ability to change the rules that govern the space station that they're on at whim. And in this issue, it looks like they're going to get away with it because there's no way they can keep up with the rule changes that keep happening. Shutter number 14, we get a look more into the character that, if I remember correctly, his name is Huckleberry. Get a sense of who they are. We have this great party because they've kind of overthrown some of the bad guys. They've got the team back together and are going to be able to focus more on this cabal that has been kind of in charge of manipulating reality in the world all this time. So it's kind of a get together for them to recharge their batteries before the next great thing happens. This is Mirror issue number 1. Mouse Monkey Boy here finds a door to a new world, and that new world is our world, and we get to experience what that's like because it's kind of a reflection of his world, but maybe not. Midnighter, issue number 9. Midnighter goes up against the Suicide Squad. which he basically cleans house with them as a whole. Harley Quinn does potentially get the jump on him briefly because she's so psychotic. But otherwise, he takes them down with ease, throws them back in jail, and kind of helps restart the Suicide Squad, so we can get the new Suicide Squad in its own book. Yeah, great stuff as always. Atco art, so brilliant art on it. Has been a lot of fun. Kloss, issue number 3. Here's where the Morrison scale starts to tip and it becomes more Morrison. We've moved beyond what seems to be your typical Christmas story and into Santa Claus potentially being a werewolf that's been abducted by aliens while doing shrooms, and the evil baron that's running the city that he's at now it has started to do sacrifices to try and make his son happy, because his son is never happy and never likes the toys, and this is kind of the magical way of making that all happen, and it gets all kinds of crazy in this one. Let's see, Doctor Strange. This is issue number 5. And here he is battling. He spends a large time battling his own food, that while it's in his stomach, it's an epic battle of digestion. And at the very end, the epic part of the battle, he drinks a fancy chai tea from a local non-corporate sponsored pro-hipster coffee house, and that settles his stomach and makes things calm enough that he can start to build a library in the coffee shop, because his own library at his own house is dying, and so he's just simply going to start over and work a coffee house and do some magic and rebuild his collection of power. Continues to be great stuff. Detective Comics issue number 49. Gordon, continuing to be all Batman-like, lays the smackdown on our criminal gang and puts the fear of the new Batman in them, even though he doesn't have the cape to look like a bat. Great stuff as always. Captain America, Sam Wilson, Captain America, issue number 6. Somewhat misleading cover, because of course he's still Cap Wolf, because that's what rocks. That's the great stuff that we're wanting to read, and so that's really what's going on in his here as he tussles with the serpents. The new Falcon continues to save him all the time. The book is now hinging as being more of a new Falcon book than a new Captain America book, because clearly Marvel is focusing on diversity, so nothing says diversity more than somebody who's had their genes mixed with a falcon, and so all the other people out there who have mixed DNA with animals will feel represented by having this book. It's gonna just be great. Excuse me for the coffee. Batgirl number 48. Back with Black Canary. This is where they tease us about there being a new Birds of Prey, and it's going to be these two ladies heading it up, and it's going to be all kinds of great, only to at the end for it to be revealed that that Batgirl really hates the band Black Canary, and it's an argument that they can't get past, and they're both on the splits again and on the outs. And it sounds like that Batgirl's going to go through with taking the Birds of Prey name, and Black Canary plans on suing her for that, because she feels like that she is more the Bird of Prey, because, of course, her name actually is a bird name. Should be interesting. And finally this time, Abe Sapien, issue number 30. Can we really be on issue 30 already? That seems crazy, doesn't it? Amazing. Anyway, finally, we're back to this guy who basically had sold his soul to hell, only to discover that hell isn't the real power. This more of a kind of Chthonian alien invasion of frogmen and giant beasts really are what's controlling, and he's trying to figure out how to get in league with them because he's clearly backed the wrong people, it's a struggle, and it continues to be a struggle, and right about where he's at the apex of conquering and getting the power he wants. He is backstabbed by the sergeant zombie that he's always been dragging around with him, who used to be a friend of Abe Sapiens. He gets enough of his own power back that he wrecks the guy's ultimate plans, and he is sent to the ever-weakening hell and has no power. And that's my books for the week. That's my poll. I hope you enjoyed looking at my poll in this very random, unpredictable, telepathic way of me talking about my books. Anyway, you want to see how much of that is actually true, how close I am on any of those things, check out on the Comic Roundtable this weekend. And otherwise, have a good one. See you next time.